This is TV47 Breakfast, time for the State of the Nation. President William Ruto addresses the nation yesterday, highlights just how important and critical it is for us to forge the way forward in what people have termed as a Vision 2060, coming from Vision 2030, which he says we have fallen short of achieving some of the targets that we had set as a country, but that does not mean that we slow down. And of course, he comes on board with a report presented to him by a team led by none other than Kisumu Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o and other scholars, other professors. They have worked on a document that they say is good enough to steer the country forward. Do you or do you think that is basically what would play out, or perhaps there's more that needs to be done? Is the country ripe to follow to it what it is that the president says or the president recommends, even as we await for August the 12th, where then we usher ourselves into that space officially? That's what we'll be discussing this morning, alongside other political activities that are playing out in the country. And my guests, of course, right next to me, I would say right next to me, is Wanjiku Thiga, who's the National Youth Caucus chairperson of DCP party. Perhaps would not agree with what it is that the president says, but we wait to see. And we also have next to her Jared Oye, who is the ODM Youth League, amongst the leaders there. Thank you so much for creating time, Jared, as always. And last but not least, Kariuki Ngonjiri, National Youth Leader, UDA, whom I met after a very long time, finally again on set. It's good to have you once again to get to this critical conversation. The two of them are likely to speak the same language because then, of course, they sit within the broad-based government. Jared, I want to believe that you are in the ODM faction of broad-based.
Thank you very much.
ODM. There's nothing like that.
There's nothing like that. ODM
ni moja. Yeah, broad-based.
No, it's a conversation going on. Yes, and that's not a political party.
Okay. Interesting. They say that, of course, we appreciate what it is that the president, presented to us yesterday. And in equal measure, we have seen other people arguing that perhaps they're not excited about that because, well, they feel like even as the president acknowledges that we've not been able to reach, the targets we set for 2030, reality is that his government itself has not performed according to expectation. Wanjiku, this goes straight to you. Ladies first, as they would say. What do you make of the president's address yesterday? One that caught most of the Kenyans, flat-footed, because we never expected a State of the Nation address. But the president comes out and highlights just what we need to do as a nation moving forward.
Thank you for having me today. Good morning. Good morning, Kenyans. Nilidhani government tajitetea kwanza, but yes, I'll take lead. Yesterday, first of all, as opposition, we were pleased that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua gave us leakage. So we knew what to expect.
Was it leakage or it was just in the...
And actually threw the president off. So we saw him try to repackage his speech. Rigathi Gachagua told us he's going to speak about his Vision 2060. Now he called it Beyond Vision 2030. I am actually not quite shocked, but maybe also shocked because we've watched the president skip from the hustler narrative and the better economic model to Singapore, and now jumping into Vision or Beyond Vision 2030. This means that he has been unable to implement two blueprints, and now he's looking for another one. And as Kenyans, we want to let him know that we don't want him to plan our future. He's already failed. And if you look at Vision 2030 itself, and let's look at the political pillar. We've seen him being unable to implement, to fully implement during his reign. The rule of law, we know this regime doesn't respect it in any way. When we talk about equal human rights, we talk about respect of human life. We've seen this government on the forefront of killing young people. And number two, when we look at transparency and accountability, corruption is at an all-time high today. Let's look at debt. Today, Kenya debt is growing at 18%, while the economic growth is at 4%. And this is why the purchasing power of Kenyans is very low. That's why people watatuambia unga imeteremuka, but bado Kenyans can't afford it because the purchasing power is low. So this government has failed. It needs to stop planning for our future. We are going to plan for our future unity government in 2027. Took on a plan, and William Ruto what he needed to do yesterday was to account for what he has done so far. Because people will not eat hope. People want to see what have you achieved for us today.
Okay.
How have you made our realities better? But speaking about hope and, and always talking about these Asian tigers, he hasn't even consulted Kenyans. Is that where we want to go? And
that's a good question, or perhaps that's a good observation that, yes, the Asian tigers, it's always good to look at, nations that have done well, for you to say that, well, we'd want to benchmark or we'd want to go that direction.